Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi here again with another video. Today I'm going to try to tackle something that might not interest you, but it interests me. I have 3 accounts, so I don't have a lot of time to devote to each account, so I have to maximize my play time with the accounts. You might ask why I have 3 accounts. I'll try to justify it in a different video, but today it's what I have. I just recently got the 3rd one because I wanted to show you what it's like to be a new player, that you don't have any benefit of existing watch levels or whatever. So which is better to level for XP? Is it a challenging or is it heroic? Straight off, a heroic has more XP than a challenging. But a challenging with 5 directives, which I'm going to show you first, versus just a heroic with no directives, is what I'm going to measure today. So I'm going to use the same tank build for both. I'm going to go to the same control point for both. I can't affect random variables like you're going to see. I get different mobs come in. I get a couple of resource convoys that change the fight. Both fights take about 12 minutes or so, or the whole time I'm videotaping. For different videotaping, that's showing my age for recording this. In different parts of this, I'll get different resource convoys come in. On the heroic, I didn't grab the loot, so I didn't get the XP for it, but it's just less. It's just less. So what are the things you're thinking about? Well, you're soloing and you want to figure out, you know, how I can solo and grind up some XP so I get my levels, whether it's for a season or something else. One of the things you might notice from my other builds, this is not my normal tank build. On this account, I don't have a Ridgeway, so I have a Catharsis build. And my gameplay is significantly different. You could see every once in a while you'll hear the whoosh. If you get hit enough, you will build stacks that increases your weapon damage, and then when you hit the maximum stacks, you will do a heal. It's pretty convenient, but you're pretty mobile, so you kind of just stay in the same place, get shot. And for deflector shield, this is like kind of a great thing. You're getting healed while you're dishing damage. Obviously right here, I had to do a health pack. So challenging is a lot easier than heroic. And it's not easy, isn't the right word. There's more margin for error. For example, when I did the first recording of the heroic, I ran out just like I did before, and there was more mobs for some reason, and I got smoked. I went in a corner and. Now, part of me said if I would have had my Ridgeway build, you know, when everyone's attacking me, I'm putting bleeds on them, I'm killing them faster, and I'm getting healed, but I don't have Ridgeway, so this is what it is. There could be other builds where you make it faster or less, but with this guy, I don't have the season. And in the season, you get some of the perks you get if you grind it all the way up. You get those bare knuckles, exotic gloves, and you get that pistol, Busy Bee exotic. But you get to replay, if you're missing any of the shield tech, you can replay those and get the shield tech. And so on this account, I'm trying to make sure on each account I have all the skills. Probably as you've seen before, I love the Liberty. It's decent damage. I feel comfortable shooting with it. So I'm going to try to push the spawn point because I think in a tank build, you should be able to do that. So I'm trying to stop them from spawning. I think I do this on the heroic too. And this is a good technique. I guess, you know, from one of my other videos, someone said, you know, if you have a decoy, so in this situation, if I had a decoy, maybe I'd throw it out so I can get in there. But that's really, I think, the right way to do that. You'll see me do that on the Heroic as well. One thing to consider when you have a resource chance, you know, when the resource convoy comes in, do you start taking it out? What do you do with your control point? So this is some of the strategy that you're using. You're thinking about how many if I leave one guy in the resource and finish out the control point, that might be smart, or vice versa. So these are some of the choices you're thinking about when you're soloing. And again, on challenging, there's more margin for error. With all these shield builds, you always want to consider if people are behind you on the challenging. With the 5 directives, I don't have the radar, so I have to be a little more careful. But again, you're in challenging, so you have a little more risk. Obviously, if I was on Heroic with 5 directives, then that would be, you know, I'd be getting the maximum XP. I have run those before. It's just, like I said, there's less margin for error. And how much more XP. When I looked at the naked AP, or the XP without directives, I think it was like 70k difference. It was like 293 to whatever it is on the, maybe it's 220 to 290 or something like that. It wasn't terribly different. And if you remember, I think, I don't know this exactly, but you need like 700k to go to another level. So trying to get this character done by the few days I have available so I can get it up and put them back away. And this is the other thing that you need to think about. Like, so if you have characters, why should you have alts? Maybe not alternative accounts, but the reason why you should have alts is the math, right? So you need exotics. If you're doing expertise, as you get in the higher level expertise, it takes exotics to get your expertise up. So on my main character, I just had dump truck loads of exotics. Because I had 4 characters, I do 4 shield requisitions every week. Those are where you just give supplies. Number 2 is I always ran the legendary. That gives you none. And I try to do summit. So if I'm very ambitious, I do 4 legendaries. I do legendaries every day, but I don't do, you know, I'm not putting a different character on. I'm trying to get my Shepherd level up, but again, I end up just joining a legendary in matchmaking and just don't, you know, that'd be very fortuitous to be willing to shepherd and then get called into a legendary and. So yeah, I just recently came across this because that's what, there you go, that's the XP from the control point. Almost 500,000 XP. It's almost double what you get in a Heroic. And the fight time's nearly the same. So that supply convoy pops up, so I'm like, well, heck, I might as well knock that out. Part of the problem with the 5 directives, it has that cooldown, so, you know, in my build, once I pop the shield, I lose all my archivers and I have to wait for it to bring up. So I seldom use the different weapons in this build, because mainly I'm going to be using the shield. That's mainly how I'm going to be doing my damage. The other thing with these builds, when you're doing when they have the ammo, if you're going against Black Tusk, they disrupt you, so you lose your shield. So it makes it infinitely harder to do this. So the Black Tusks are hard, and there's different things like Black Tusk. If you don't have a shield pulse, or excuse me, a jammer pulse, what you're doing is all the Johnny Fives and the dogs just become much more troublesome, and the drones. And I probably could have done this with my other builds. I probably, if I wouldn't have had a shield build, I would have had like a max DPS, skill DPS build. And I probably would have had a turret and a drone, and I've flown those around. Speaking of expertise, by the way, let's say you have one toon on your account, and then you're starting to make alternative characters. That's the reason why you should spend your expertise, your upgrades into your skills first, because all your alts share the skills. So let's say you're level 10 expertise, your level 10 turret will go on your brand new guy, even on those lower levels. That's a huge advantage, you know, as you're leveling up. And if you raise expertise on armor on a character, it stays on the character. You could share it in the bank, but that's a little too much. You know, swapping armors out. That's like old school MMORPGs where, you know, when they finally gave you a bank and you could put, like in WoW, you could, you know, get good drops and share them with your accounts until they had heirlooms, and then that kind of changed things in WoW. Just about done with this heroic. Again, you see, it's never really a problem. Benefits of the Intimidate, you know, I get more armor as I get near the people, so got Catharsis and Intimidate. And I think I had one of those invulnerable shield procs, but it's worthless in this build. You know, you're better off in this particular build running these directives. We have, you know, that one piece where you, even if it's not perfect, if your armor gets busted, you get 95% back every minute. So we're going to look at the XP. The XP just on that is fantastic as well. 330,000 XP. So let's look at heroic. No directives, so I'm going to be able to run around using my skills a little bit more. Crappy edit back there, sorry. Starting off at the same place, picking it, showing you that I'm in heroic. On an earlier play, when I was going out, I got rogues on the challenging, so I went out and got them, and I might put a video of that on. It was tough with just using a pistol. Kind of regretted it at that point, but I took care of them with pulse. So part of this video is me acknowledging I should eat some humble pie, because on other videos I've been telling you you should only be doing heroic and legendary. Your build's good enough, you get better loot, and there's a certain point where you're going to get loot and you care about that. But this is what I'd submit to you. At a certain point, when your build's pretty decent, you just need loot to build up your expertise. You're not really going to find, you know, a piece that's, you know, you might, but you're just going to get loot. So you want to get XP and loot as fast as you can, and that's where I'd say I agree. If someone said, well, I'm going to do challenging to get more XP and I just need the loot, I'm going to burn it, I don't need the quality of the loot, I'm not going to argue with you, because that's probably the right thing to do. But I think what I was really more speaking to is that people don't play legendary or heroic because it's more difficult. And I know it's a game, and I know you're playing this to enjoy yourself, but it's pretty easy to do a heroic, and it's pretty easy to do legendary. I'm sure there's some people that do legendary by themselves, but I found it funner to be in a group and see how the group mixes together. So again, I had a bad experience earlier, so I try to get those mobs first. They're not even a resource, but I want them out of the way. So now I'm going to finally, I think 3 minutes in, I'm going to finally start off the control point. And almost immediately behind me, I get a resource convoy. Again, you see the benefit of Catharsis is I can just take that beating and I'm going to heal myself. So I'll stand behind there. You see there's and that's the problem with Catharsis. That's the good and the bad. Good thing is it drops the heal. The bad thing is it drops it where you were and it doesn't follow you. And there's the heal right there. So it has its place. It has for a certain play style. Catharsis is fantastic. And I can see this guy coming to my left, right? So I'm going to start moving around. Try to see where these guys are. Is it a real person? And so at this point, I kind of see the people over there and I decide I might as well just go take care of those guys. I make a critical mistake while I'm doing that. Not a I die mistake, but for the video mistake. That poor schlub's getting clubbed to death. Sorry, dude. Again, you see where Intimidate and Catharsis make a pretty powerful, along with Artificer. My shield's constantly getting healed up. I'm doing damage as they hit me with the shield, with Deflector. Catharsis is healing me, and I'm gaining armor when I get near people. It's a pretty solid tanking build. And in some other videos, and in all these videos, I think you should have like a platform that you're building on. Right now I'm in love with the ongoing Vile Jammer build. It is just absolutely, when I can do that in a group, it's absolutely fantastic. I'm giving everyone good ammo. I'm creating my own status effects so I can give them the ammo. And I'm providing a lot of benefits in the group. But that platform is basically with a vial and creeping death, a mask, and a backpack. My tank builds are either Catharsis and Intimidate, or maybe it's not Intimidate, maybe it's whatever it's called. I'm not sure what it's called, I forgot. Anyways, or Ridgeway in the backpack that gives me more armor. I don't really have that for a red build, right? That's probably where I'm personally weakest at. And at a certain point, I'll probably try to bring that up. I think typically I'm trying to do something with Clutch in Ridgeway because I'm used to that healing part. And so I notice that my red builds are never as strong as people I'm playing with. And I marvel at some of those. I saw one build, the person was obnoxious, but I was in Legendary Roosevelt Island. And this person, I think they had the Razorback rifle where it crits automatically after you do, you mark them and all that stuff. They were just plowing through people, but we couldn't keep them alive because we didn't have enough pressure because, we couldn't. And on top of it, he was annoying. Like, where we died we're on Roosevelt Island where they start dropping the chungas down from the helicopters. He doesn't fall back because he's like level 12 watch, so he doesn't have a lot of armor, but he can kill people like crazy. But he just, you got it. Legendaries are good because it helps having a team. And you got to play in that dynamic, I think, on a legendary more than anything. So I've taken care of the resource. Now I can get to the thing of taking the control point, and this is where I press the spawn for them. And again, this is where this build's going to shine. This is where your tank build, you should be able to go to the spawn point on a control point and just camp it and just stop them from getting out. Now you can imagine if you're with a team, there'd be more people, but your team's putting out tons of damage right now, and you're just keeping them set. Some maybe with some crowd controls, it makes control points pretty easy. But you got to push to this point. So I'm going to kind of get to the point of the video. It's just better doing challenging with 5 directives than heroic with no directives. It's just as fast, you get way more XP. Once you've got the build set where you want, the loot doesn't matter because you're going to burn it all anyways, right? You're just going to melt it down. So who cares if it's challenging or heroic? And if you're going to get loot, I know people don't like going to the summit, but the summit is fantastic. So just a quick tip on the ongoing directive. I just go there, select ongoing directive. I get in a group, either challenging or heroic. And then I just get nothing but ongoing directives. And then I can select the piece that I want. And, you know, usually I'm putting yellows on those. So now I'm defending and I'm pushing a little bit. And here's a mistake I made. I didn't go recover the convoy stuff soon enough, so it kind of like disappeared. Or at least the XP for it disappeared. It's up there. And I kind of am realizing this right now, so now I'm like, oh, I need to go get my XP. How come that didn't show up? I wasn't going to reshoot the video for that, but you get the general idea. Always want to thank you guys for watching the videos and liking them. I have a couple videos that are doing okay. I appreciate it. Going to try to add some more content here soon. So if you're out and you need loot, you don't need specific loot, but you just need loot for your expertise, and you need XP. Challenging with 5 directives, you can do it easily with a and why am I using a tank? It's because the dumb pistolero thing, right? You start off with no ammo, and the enemies you kill will drop ammo. And I could switch with the cooldown skills. It's a little bit tougher, but you're getting so much more XP, it's worth it. It's literally easy mode. Well, I think that's it. This isn't scientific. I tried to get it close to realistic. Try to do the same thing with the same build. XP is just significantly different. So I appreciate you watching. I'm going to let you watch the rest of this in peace. Go ahead and use challenging with 5 directives. With your tank build, it's easy XP and loot. Thank you.